This week's episode is brought to you by $6shirts.com. Hey all you skinned cats and kittens, welcome back to Week in Horror May 10th through May 16th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am JL, and with me today are Eugene and Alex.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's going on? So, we'd like to thank $6shirts.com for sponsoring this episode. They have an amazing selection of horror-themed shirts available as low as $6 per tee, or 10 for $50. Or check out the clearance section for even cheaper items.
With stylized tees, tanks, hoodies, and sweatshirts featuring Friday the 13th, Silence of the Lambs, Evil Dead, Alien, all your favorite horror films are here. Check them out at 6, that's the number 6, $shirts.com.
All right. Wow, yeah. That's our first sponsorship. Can you believe that shit?
Woo, we did it! We made it big time.
My mind is
Send
blown.
us shit to do shit.
Exchange of goods and services, thank you very much. I do like this. This is kind of a milestone for us. I love it. And you know, we can thank the quarantine because I have the time to sit on my ass and actually send out email stuff
and
looking
not a
for
fucking
things
thing.
like this. So thank you, COVID-19, for affording me the time to catch people while they're at work, while they're stuck at home, and send them emails that they'll respond to.
Silver fucking linings, man. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, speaking of quarantine, how y'all doing? You guys hanging in there?
Dodging the murder hornets.
It's murder hornets.
Welcome to level 5 of Jumanji.
I mean, you know, this one actually scares me a lot.
Okay, the one thing that will take the edge off. There is a video going around on Facebook of a murder hornet, the Japanese giant hornet, going up against a praying mantis. And that praying mantis whooped the fucking shit out of this thing.
Okay, that's good because we got a shitload of praying mantises down here in
Yeah,
Texas.
that's good.
So give it up for the praying mantis. Do not fuck with the praying mantis.
Those things are insane, man.
I saw that video of that murder hornet killing that mouse, like stinging a mouse to death. I was like,
That's
damn,
terrifying.
I was like, damn, nothing can stop these things. And I saw that goddamn praying mantis was like, wham! He pinned that son of a bitch and ate his fucking head clean off. It was like, oh, thank God, the praying mantis. I've seen them eat lizards. I've seen them eat small mammals. If they get big enough, these things will eat anything. So yay, we have the praying mantis to protect us from this next wave of the apocalypse.
That's good, because I've seen the YouTube videos where, like, one guy's, like, going around looking for insects on the sting index.
Coyote Peterson.
Yeah.
The Schmidt pain index.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Fucking Schmidt.
Okay, I gotta give our listeners a little bit of okay, it's science lesson time on Week in Horror. So there was an entomologist, I can't remember his first name, his name was Dr. Schmidt, and Dr. Schmidt decided that he wanted to create an index of pain regarding stings of various insects. So he went all around the world and allowed himself to be stung by some of the most wicked insects that he could find, and he developed an index of pain of what would be the worst. And everything from bitten by centipedes, stung by bumblebees, pretty much stung by anything. And the number one on that list is the South American bullet ant, which apparently feels like being shot when you get bit. When you get stung by it, 'cause it actually
that's
stings.
fucking great.
Right, and then the second, a close one behind that, is the southeastern tarantula wasp, or
The tarantula hawk.
The tarantula hawk, yeah.
Yeah, those fuckers that fly around down here.
Exactly, and apparently that feels very similar, but it's not as long lasting as the bullet ant. Well, apparently the giant hornet. What is the giant hornet at?
I have no idea.
I
It was
don't know.
like one of the top on his things, though. I sat and watched like all those. I don't remember where it ranked because he did so many, and I watched them way out of order. But like, it didn't look good. Like, he was on the ground screaming.
You know, to be fair, that's like every episode, though.
Yeah, but he's doing the bullet ants and the fucking tarantula hawks too. You want to know what my first experience moving to Texas was? I moved to Texas, I guess, in 2012, so almost 8 years ago, coming up here in a couple months. The first thing I see when I moved to Texas, well, first of all, we drove from Minnesota, so we drove through Oklahoma, and Oklahoma was on fire. And we're like, well, what the fuck? And so then we get to Texas, it's 114 degrees, and one of the first things I see is one of these tarantula hawks, which is this black or blackish blue, like iridescent wasp that has like orange wings, literally dragging a unconscious tarantula back to its lair. So I just see this fucking hornet dragging a tarantula, and I'm like, where the fuck am I?
Welcome to Texas.
What the fuck did I get into? And then these wolf spiders, because the house that we moved into was like open into like this little garage thing. And so like we moved in and the wolf spiders started moving out. And these things were like, I'm not kidding you, like bigger than my child's like whole hand. The legs, they're fucking insane. I was like, what the hell? So yeah, we've got those murder hornets already down here. And apparently they're stupid venomous.
I remember that back in Scouts, when I first moved here to Texas, was the cow killer ant.
Yeah, that's still. I got stung by one of those fucking
but
things.
But the cow killer is actually a wing. It's actually, if you see them crawling around, they're like a big red fuzzy looking ant.
Yeah.
In actuality, that's a female of the species, and it's a wingless wasp. Because the males have wings and they don't sting, but the females do, and that is really, really painful. That's a really bad one.
Oh yeah, no. And then the second thing that I did after I saw that was go stand by the pool in the backyard in flip-flops, which I didn't know was like not okay when you're standing in any open grassy area in Texas. And I got an itch on my foot, and I looked down, and I'm not kidding you, probably 50 ants on my feet, and they just all started biting, and it was like the worst 3 days having to unpack in the 100-degree heat with these fucking blisters all over my feet from fire ants. I'm like, why? What are we doing here? What did we do? So yeah, that's Texas. I don't know. I guess that makes me feel better about the murder hornets. I don't think they're gonna fuck around with anything down here.
Oh, that's what they have. That's how they describe it. Life-changing, pray for death pain.
Life-changing, pray for death.
Okay, so that pretty much sums up that little monstrosity.
Anyways, that's May in a nutshell so far.
Thank you to the asshole who brought those over. We are now cursing you just as Australians curse the cane toad.
That's true. I can't wait to see what June brings.
June brings my fucking 30th birthday. My wedding and my birthday have both been canceled due to fucking COVID this year. My 30th birthday and my fucking wedding, and I'm pissed.
Your 30th birthday. That's nice.
Did I just get young shamed?
I turned 40 in a couple weeks.
Okay, boomer.
I love how I'm perfectly in between both of y'all, too. I'm like 5 years in the middle.
I feel so bad because according to Ilza Schlesinger, I am an elder millennial. Is technically what I am.
I'm technically a millennial as well. I'd rather be that than any of the other ones. No offense to any Gen X, Gen Z, iGen. What's the other one?
Total respect for the Gen X.
Hey, yeah, go do your thing. We're just different times, man.
That's true, yeah.
All right, so we have endured all kinds of nastiness here. And, of course, the murder hornets show up right as the doors open and people are starting to reopen businesses. Meanwhile, Texas is spiking because we haven't peaked yet. So we're opening up. So we don't know what's going to happen. These are, as they say in the news, uncertain times. So we say, fuck these uncertain times. You're listening to us, and we talk about horror movies on this motherfucker. So Eugene is going to kick us off this week. What do we have up first to distract us from the bullshit outside?
So we have this bullshit movie. No, just kidding.
Oh, ouch!
Ouch! No, I just wanted to say, no, it's actually a fantastic movie.
Cold-blooded.
Romero just rolled over in his grave. Dude.
I know, he's gonna haunt me now tonight. He's gonna haunt me. So we actually have released May 10th, 1978, and is the movie Martin. And it's directed by George A. Romero, and it stars John Aplais, Elaine Nadeau, and Tom Savini. And basically what it is John plays Martin, who is somebody who's convinced that he is a vampire. So what he does is he sedates women and uses razor blades to cut their wrists and drink their blood. And after doing this a couple of times, like starting off like on a train, he actually starts to fall. He basically starts falling for a housewife next door.
So there's lots of killing and so much love.
Yeah.
This is actually, like, thinking about it now, this was a bloody week.
It really is.
Yes, it actually is. Going through what we're going to be covering.
It's pretty fucking bloody. And this one uses, like, it's bloody, you know, it's a vampire story, so it's, like, romantic, but then the next one we talk about isn't so romantic. Anyways, yeah, Tom Savini's in this one, as he is in most George A. Romero stuff.
I really dug it because obviously, Savini had been doing work on his own, and brought his experiences from Vietnam, from the Vietnam War, brought him over and became one of the top special effects guys out there, or practical effects guys out there at the time. Then of course Romero, Night of the Living Dead, and so on. But this is the first time we got to see them work together, like to see the two powerhouses come together. Yeah.
I was looking into some stuff that they had done together, because they had been pretty much together after this. There was the Incredibly Strange Film Show. Did you ever see this?
That I can honestly say I did not.
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, it's like it's a TV show that goes over stuff in the past. So whatever, long story short, they did an episode with George Romero and Tom Savini, and it interviews like B movie makers. And so they go through and they talk about all the stuff they had done together. But yeah, talking about Martin, and then Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and then they talk about like Night of the Living Dead. But going into like Savini and his career, I was trying to think of the other movie. What's it called? Maniac, I think it was what it was.
Oh yeah, Maniac. He worked on that one just because he was doing effects. But he actually got a role. He got a part in the movie. Because he actually had a plaster head, whatever they made the head of. He actually had a fake
they were
head
talking about that
of him. They had a fake head of himself, and so they were like, "Well, we need another fake head." Well, I've got this one, but it looks like me. And they were like, "Okay, fuck it, you get to be in the movie." And he was like, "Sweet."
Oh yeah.
He was like, "I knew one day this will pay off."
And then he's the one who jumped up on the hood of the car and shot his own head in the face with a real shotgun. So,
how much fucking that's why that scene is so good, is because it's like, fuck yeah, I get to shoot myself in the face.
I can shoot myself in the face because he's the one that jumps up. He's the one that jumps up with the. And if you look really closely, you can tell. You can tell it's him. It's not. I can't. Oh Lord, the name of the actor escapes me. The lead actor in that.
Oh God, I can't remember his name.
Someone's gonna get mad at me.
Oh no, before the angry comments start.
I feel like such an idiot. I can't remember that lead actor's name. How can I not remember the lead actor's name from fucking Maniac? 1981.
Are you like stalling while you're looking into it?
No, shut up.
Man, I can't believe.
Fuck it.
Joe Spinell?
I think it's Joe Spinell.
Yeah, Joe Spinell, that's it.
Yes, Joe Spinell.
Joe Spinell. I like that better.
Joe Spinell.
That's more 80s.
Yes.
But yeah, so they had George Romero and Tom Savini on the show. It's awesome. Check it out. I think it's season 2, episode 6 of the Incredibly Strange Film Show.
I think the two of them working together is really, really cool. I mean, obviously, two guys of the same mind. Romero has Romero's unique style, but I think what lends itself to why they work so well together. And it was crazy because you mentioned that, Romero, like king of the B films, of like B horror.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's such a shame because he's an extraordinarily talented director, but he never I think he did like one studio film in his entire career. And the reason he didn't like to do studio films is because he liked to keep his budgets under $100,000. And with studio films, You can get way beyond that. So he would get a budget and it'd be like, hey, your budget's $250,000, $250,000. He'd be like, no, 100,000. I can do this for $100,000. And studios would be like, okay, look, dude, you have the money, you have the resources, you can go. It's like, no, I have my vision, I'm done. And apparently this caused a lot of problems, when he was shooting larger films. So he liked to keep his budget under $100,000. And when you do that, and you have someone like Savini who came up in the kind of like the B side of that, who can keep his costs down with his work and it still be effective on camera, the two of them just go together. It's just a match made in heaven, which is why you get really cool stuff like Dawn of the Dead.
I wonder why that is too, because if you ask any filmmaker and they're like, we'll actually give you more money towards a project, they're going to be like, yeah, absolutely, $250,000, that's awesome for it. Instead of like, nope, I cap at 100, but you have 250. Nope, I just want 100. Nope, I'll send it back. That's all I want, just 100.
I mean, that's if you can get your idea out there for that buck, why spend the more, why spend the extra budget? Save it.
I mean, I guess so.
Make another one.
If that was the look, if he
it worked for them.
Yeah, it worked. If he likes the look of the B film, which I'm not saying that look is bad by any means. There are many great B quality films that are fantastic. Some of my favorite films that I love. Maybe that's just a style he liked.
It's possible. It may come from a business standpoint. If you're able to keep your budget down to that extent, then you maximize your ability. If you're going to be making any profits whatsoever, you maximize the opportunity to get money back in order to put it into your next film. And once you've gone long enough keeping your budget low, it may have been a habit that he didn't like to get out of. And like me, I would have to agree with him if this were the truth. If once you get up into the $250,000, $500,000, $1 million films, a lot of politics gets involved.
That's true.
And when you keep your budgets low, you can minimize the political influence because low-budget movies typically are not seen as ones that can work. Night of the Living Dead was shot on a shoestring budget, and it landed hard. So it was like boom, and it was out of the gate. So, and that was his project, his baby. He could keep it all in-house. So I can see the kind of wanting to avoid studio bullshit by keeping his budgets low. Because the more money you get in, the more hands are going to be trying to reach into the pot and try to, give their own fucking input, make me an executive producer bullshit. And I can see, from the scant times I met George, he didn't take me as a guy. He was a lovable dude, totally affable, open to anybody talking to me, but he didn't strike me as a guy who suffered fools. Is that when it's business time, it's time to work. So he was a professional, and I guess, too many egos floating around the camera just probably
start bumping into each other.
Yeah, probably just pissed him off. It's more distracting from this. He was a storyteller. It's too distracting, and that's why I think he works well with Savini, because Savini is very much the same way. And Savini is very much, let's get it done, let's go. He's all about preparation and being prepared and having everything you need and going above and beyond. So when Savini shows up to do the effects on your movie, he's already had the script for a while. He's made dozens of things that can be used throughout. He's made extra in case you come up with ideas alongside. And he'll even come up with his own shit. And he's like, hey, I got this idea. He won't just go to the director. And there's tales of plenty of Savini going. He'll go to the director. He'll pitch an idea. He's like, I think we could do this. And he'll have the shit made so he can demonstrate it and go and try.
Let me show
like, this
you.
will look. Yeah, let me show you what it'll look like. And then the director goes, oh, I can see it. I can visualize it now because I see it. And then you're off and running.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
And I think that's one of the reasons why he's worked so long in the industry, because when you are that professional, that prepared, and clearly they have the same work ethic going with George and Tom Savini working together, you're prepared, you know exactly what you want, you know exactly what you're getting, and basically all you do on set is you just shoot it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Similar minds.
I think he would have been a lot of fun to work with. Just as an actor, or even to work as crew on his set. I think it would have been a lot of fun. Just seeing the inventive shit that he could come up with. Yeah. I think it would just be badass. Or maybe seeing him because sometimes you'll catch that moment where the director will get an idea that didn't come up in pre-production. You're like, oh my god, we should do this. And then you seeing stuff like that, I think it would be a blast. Oh. Romero had such insight into not just obviously the visual, the gruesome gore and of his films, but also he had insight into satire and insight into, I think, the human condition, which is why I loved Martin so much. It's one of his best. I think he said in an interview he considers Martin his best film. And I think what resonated, and this may have also put some fans off, because was the notion that he was playing with monsters, universal, ubiquitous monsters, the werewolf, the vampire, the zombie, the Frankenstein's monster, all of these things. He's made them. He was playing with the idea that they were extensions of the human condition. That there's no such thing as a vampire, but the concept of that, someone who preys upon the life essence of a human being, to its extreme, is vampiric, and that, it's just an extension of us. I thought that was brilliant, especially for 1978. Fuck, that was some brilliant shit.
That was right around the time Acid came out, right? Just wondering.
Little did we know he was best friends with Timothy Leary. But I loved it, man. The Godfather of the Dead had some amazing ideas when it came. I mean, the satirical notes. Obviously, 1968, Night of the Living Dead. He knocked racism on its ass. Okay,
Hell
straight
yeah.
up. And then Dawn of the Dead. He knocked consumerism on its ass. The whole movie is a fucking satire of consumerism. And then Land of the Dead, classism. I mean, he swings for the fences every time, but he does it in such a minute way, and then gives everybody the gore to kind of stomach the bitter pill that they're swallowing. And he did it in this. And I think because there was so much blood spectacle in it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and of course some silly thing, when his fucking fake teeth are coming out and shit. This shit. I'm sorry, I laughed when that happened. I was like, because it looked kind of goofy, but it was 1978. But the storyline was moving because Romero had a grasp of that. He saw his genre from a perspective that I think few directors did at the time, which is why he's been such an inspiration.
Yeah, that's why he's been kind of at the forefront, because he even started off with just the opening kill on the train, how it's actually drawn out. It's drawn out, it's uncomfortable, and he goes and stabs her with the needle, and a lot of times in films today, it's like, oh, this is sedative, and then like knock out like within seconds. But this actually goes on for a while before you even get the title card. It's like 10 minutes into the movie before like even the title card comes up for it. And it just really, it showcases the mental condition. It showcases the monster that he is, but from his perspective.
Yeah. You know what it gave me kind of hints of? The remake of Maniac with Elijah Wood. I got vibes from that. Seeing it, well, I know that one was from the POV of the killer, but I got the same vibes, experiencing the carnage through their perspective. And obviously the remake of Maniac took it a step further, because that really put you in the shoes of a homicidal maniac, and that was the film was so fucking brutal. That film actually made me uncomfortable, because I didn't realize, I was like, because you really feel like you're there, and once you get sucked in, you're just there. But it was Martin's humanity that got me, which goes to show the importance of casting in situations like this, because you could have a brilliant idea, you can see something that no one else has done, and take the risk that you can tell the story. But if you don't have the actor that can pull that off, and his ability to emote was, I found that pretty damn impressive.
It was very impressive, and I think it's one of his first roles too. John, the main character.
Yeah, I think so.
I was doing some research and I found out that the Martin was actually supposed to be like a full-grown, like fully matured vampire until they met John, and then they kind of changed like the whole character in the script to kind of fit Amplis instead.
Yeah,
so it's supposed to be like a fully matured version of Martin instead of being like a younger.
Well, that goes to show, as far as casting, you have the right guy come along, and that correct actor could give you ideas that you didn't think of beforehand. That's why I love
it was okay. So it was supposed to. I'm sorry, I just found it again. It was supposed to be an established vampire struggling to live in a modern world, and then they rewrote the character with Amplis in mind.
And it works because he comes across as just an average guy that you would walk past in a subway, not look twice. Like he's just an
and then he
average
fucking
guy,
kills you.
and then he kills you.
So awesome. And of course, this is another film that earned its prestigious place on the Video Nasty list. Although they were not prosecuted for violating the Obscenities Act, it was seized and confiscated in the United Kingdom over violations of the Obscene Publications Act of 1959. So dubious honor, to be sure, but an awesome one as well. George Romero,
rebel without a cause.
He got a film confiscated by the censor. Good job. I know it was on his list. But we talked about earlier with George A. Romero and Tom Savini coming together, and when director and actors come together and they have that chemistry and they keep working, you see it all the time with many directors who like to use the same actors again. I actually want to ask the audience, we've asked the audience a bunch of George A. Romero questions and your favorites and all that other kind of stuff. But actually, what I want to ask the audience is, what is your favorite Tom Savini one? Because he's done a lot of stuff with George A. Romero, but he's also done some stuff with Robert Rodriguez and some others. What is your favorite Tom Savini one?
I got to say, From Dusk Till Dawn.
That was probably my go-to.
Yeah.
I liked him both as the effects artist in that and in the role he played. Because what was his fucking dude? Oh shit! I just remember the fucking the cock holster or the cock gun. I remember that. Dude, his name was so fucking stupid in that. Where's the hell is this? Is what quarantine does to you kids. You sit around and you don't get to socially interact with people, and I pretty much just bounce from apartment to apartment fixing apartments. I start to lose shit. And it makes me...
I can just see fucking Jared walking around, just blank look on his face, just knowledge just falling out of his head.
It is. I don't get to, because normally I'm around my friends. I get to talk about this. I get to stay fresh.
That's how you retain it. You talk about it a lot.
I do. I talk about it a lot. But Sex Machine.
Yeah, Sex Machine.
That motherfucker's name. Sex Machine.
Yeah, man, I'm starting to lose Sex Machine. Jesus.
I'm waiting for the sponsorship to kind of scrub through our podcast, and they just click on Sex Machine. That's it.
They'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
I really love From Dusk Till Dawn. Obviously, Tarantino and Clooney. I thought they had really good chemistry together. Surprisingly, because I guess it was the early years. Tarantino, I hear, just doesn't get along with many people, but I heard his chemistry with Clooney was great, and I love Rodriguez. I love the storyline. I love how they expanded it into the TV series, but his work in that one, I love seeing him. I love watching him act because he's so over the top and so silly that it's hard to take it. But he's dead professional about this shit, man.
And that's the thing, is it works. Well, okay, when your character's named Sex Machine, you can't take that seriously.
Sure you can.
When you have a gun with a gun and two revolver clips that look like a cock and balls attached to your pants. You know that shit was his idea.
I mean, I wouldn't fuck with him.
I wouldn't either. Can you picture the recoil from that, though? Like, ugh.
But
forgot about the dick gun.
Salma Hayek is Santanico Pandemonium.
That's where we're all quiet for a moment. We just reminisce.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, wipe the drill off your face.
Sorry.
That bitch said, "Welcome to slavery." He said, "No thanks, I already had a wife." Boom! And shot her in the face. I'm going off on a tangent. Going off on a Robert Rodriguez tangent. But yes, I would like to hear from the audience. What's their favorite work of Savini's? Acting, special effects, doesn't matter. What did you dug Savini in? He's a pretty cool guy. I hope to get to see him again. I think he's going to be up at Frightmare Weekend in September. So I'm hoping. I know Bill Moseley is going to be up there. That just recently got announced. So maybe we'll run into Savini there. That would be really fucking cool.
That would be badass. Sit and chat with him
dope.
for a moment.
Fuck yeah.
Be like, hey, check out this podcast. We just talked about you.
No, don't do that.
I made it sound creepy. We just talked about you, Tom.
We just talked about you.
Just you and a sex machine.
Give it a listen, sex machine.
So anyways, Alex, what do we got next?
Oh, how am I supposed to play off of that?
I didn't know, that's why I passed it to you.
Just like, all right, moving on. God. Let's go to May 11th in one of the weirdest years of my life, 2001. It was such a weird year.
A lot happened that year.
Yeah. We didn't die from Y2K, and everybody's like, why the fuck are we still around? What do we do now? We floated kind of mindlessly until COVID, you know.
Yeah.
It's been a weird life, guys. Anyways, May 11, 2001, we were blessed with the movie Ginger Snaps. This one.
I love this one.
I love this
really
I love this whole trilogy. It's great. Directed by John Fawcett, written by John Fawcett and Carrie Walton, starring Emily Perkins, Catherine Isabel, Chris Lemke. How do you even say that? Is it Lemke?
Lemke. You got it right the second time.
Lemke. See, I'm from the north. Lemke is Lemke. 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 Yeah. Anyways, so this movie, we follow two twisted sisters because they're seriously morbidly fucked up. And this is a coming of age film, if you will, where these two sisters who are like obsessed with death there's like a string of dog murders, and then you got these sisters, and this Ginger is just having a terrible night. It's a full moon. She gets her fucking period, and then her first period, and then immediately gets attacked by a werewolf and bitten, and then over the next couple of days starts realizing changes, and then she just starts fucking eating shit. It gets out of hand pretty quick.
That's one way of putting it.
There's a whole scene where she like fucks a dude and then kills a dog. It's intense. There's a lot of fucking blood, and not in a sexy way like the last one.
Not in a sexy way.
Unlike the sexy type of blood.
It's terrible. But like I remember seeing this too for the first time, and like the whole when they were like taking pictures of the dead bodies to like do that school project thing. I was like, these like suburban outcast kids, I can relate, man, because you know I was coming into teenage years myself, so this kind of played perfectly right into my life in an opposite gender kind of way. But you know, fucking terrifying. Came out the second and third movie.
There was a theme amongst horror films going on. I think this was pretty much inspired by, going back as far as 1992 when Joss Whedon brought up the idea of, using the horror genre to tell metaphorical stories about growing up. And this kind of continued that trend, made famous by things like Charmed and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and
fucking emo goth kids everywhere.
Yep,
pretty much.
Ride or die.
And utilizing the kind of the uncertainty and the unknown territory of growing up and going through puberty, of dealing with high school, dealing with changes, the changes that we've all dealt with, that we all deal with and we've all dealt with before, but going through it and then adding it in to the horror genre. And then, so we have two girls. They're roughly the same age. They're both growing up, and they're death obsessed. They're in their own world, and fuck the world, nonconformist. But then then Ginger gets her period, and all of a sudden things change. Mentalities change, emotions change, hormones starts going. This is obviously, and the girls begin to, as one is kind of coming into her own, the two girls begin to split apart because one is obviously growing, it's a big symbolic thing, and throw in a werewolf, and the werewolf changes everything. So it makes the subject where I like it because horror as a metaphor often makes the real life subject easier to swallow, because otherwise you can get preachy and it turns into a fucking after school ABC after school special. Holy fuck! Did I just date myself when I said that?
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's why millennials are so weird, because we had all the shit technology, and now like my daughter will just. My 2-year-old nephew picked up a phone and like pointed it at something like he was FaceTiming with somebody, and I'm like, when I was 2. We didn't have the internet was not even a thing yet. Like, what?
Let alone a smartphone.
Weird. See, that's why I love this movie and this trilogy too, because you said horror is a metaphor. I feel like growing up was horrible. Like going through that, like looking back at it, it was so emotional, and like nobody understands. But then you use horror and like, yeah, that's cool. They're like, fuck the system, fucking. We're going to go do weird shit because that's what we feel like doing. It's like, yeah, I feel that. And then you just kind of ride that fucking wave through the whole movie, and like, they're friends and then they're not, and then they're saving each other, and it's just like, it's fantastic. It's definitely like, if you're like 15, 16, just go watch this movie. It'll help you understand a lot of things in your life. I had a twisted childhood.
You will now have fur where there was no fur before.
It's seriously.
Maybe you're getting hair in your naughty places. I'm getting hair in all of my places. But I really dug that. Just like Buffy the Vampire Slayer did. High school is hell. Going through high school is a bitch. Everyone does it. It sucks. It's dog eat dog. It does. And you add in, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you add in monsters, and then in Charmed you add in demons. But it's shit like that. I've always dug that because
cue supernatural.
Because it enables you to take these stories that people can relate to, that actually have legitimate real world, I would say, not anecdotes, but anecdotes about real life. Lessons that you learn, and it not be a fucking ABC after school special where you feel like people are talking down to you, or you feel like people are talking to you like you're a fucking child. They tell the same story, but they can wrap it in the metaphor of a genre that we love and is inclusive and brings people together. Throw in a little blood, throw in guts, throw in some entrails, and you've got yourself a really solid horror film that actually has a message that you can conform to. It's almost like I would say Ginger Snaps almost went to the level of The Craft, but with werewolves instead of just witches.
I was actually about to say that because a lot of with the aesthetic, you think this came out about 5 years after The Craft, so you have that kind of gothic culture that was at its peak at that time. So with The Craft and Buffy and another one like Cruel Intentions.
Oh
yeah, because Cruel Intentions came out I think 2 years before this movie did.
Yeah, we keep talking about this shit. You're gonna flare up my Buffy crap.
That never unflared. Keep it in your pants, dude. Jesus.
One day, Sarah.
I cannot go into a Buffy hole again because I will start with season 1. I have seen all.
You already fucking started. It's already done.
I've already seen 7. I've seen all 7 seasons. So, but if I start, I cannot stop. I will go through the entire. I have the whole box set sitting in my collection, and then after that, I have to go on to Angel and watch all that shit too. So for like
you know what I'm binge watching right now? Okay, what are you guys binge watching through quarantine?
Oh shit! Right now, I'm going back through. Right now, Angela's going back through Bones.
Nice,
and
good choice.
I'm going back through Burn Notice, but I'm swapping back and forth between Burn Notice and Fringe.
Okay, so I completed Royal Pains, and I just started Parks and Recreation, because these are all TV shows that I haven't seen that people talk about all the time.
Oh, Parks and Rec is one of my probably top.
Dude, I'm
3
like
or 4
fucking 5
ever.
seasons into it. Oh, and I started Lost too. I still haven't finished Lost yet. I'm like 5 seasons into Parks and Rec, dude, and I love it. It's fucking great.
Dude, I'll finish Lost for you.
No, don't. I still gotta finish it myself.
You haven't seen it before? You don't know?
No, we've already talked about this, and then you guys, you spoiled it for Eugene, and I wasn't there, and...
I didn't spoil it for Eugene.
I was like, well, yeah, you can tell me.
ending.
I saw, the first 2 seasons of Lost, and afterwards I was kind of like,
I'm like
they're
4
on the
in, so yeah, no, that's what I'm
fucking
binging
follow
right
that
now.
shit. Do you want to know, Alex? I'll tell you.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me, because I've successfully gone this long without finding out, and as soon as I started, if you fucking tell me, I will break fucking quarantine.
He's going to come to your house.
It's all a giant science experiment. They're all like rats in a maze being tested.
So it's like The Island.
No, I'm fucking.
No, that's not it.
That's not it.
No, it's literally the plot to another Netflix show called The Island.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
What was the other one? Oh, go on Amazon and watch Upload.
Upload.
Okay, I take it you haven't heard it. Okay, so it's a TV show about virtual reality, but like using your mind in virtual reality after you die.
Oh, the new one with Colin Amell.
Yeah.
Or Stephen Amell's brother.
Yeah. You watch the first episode, you get halfway through, there's a scene in there that I'm not going to ruin for anybody because it's fucking hilarious. You're like, okay, I'm going to watch this whole thing.
It's like, and I'm
back to Ginger Snaps.
Yeah, back to Ginger Snaps.
But yeah, swinging back to it. But I like the metaphor. It does help. It does help in storytelling. It's a classic storytelling technique, and I think it worked well here. And
hell yeah! They had some of the greatest lines in this movie too.
With stellar production. No, actually, I would say with stellar acting, because Catherine Isabel, I think was 18 when she took this film, and Elizabeth was 22. Even though they reversed them, she was actually the younger sister to Ginger's character. But I think with an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old, the work that they did was amazing, especially considering that, I guess, from what I hear about the production itself.
Yeah, the production itself was brutal because it's a lower budget, kind of an indie film, and when you work on these, it's about getting the shots. It's about getting all the shots you need in the least amount of time possible. So they actually shot in Toronto's winter 16 hours a day. And so when you're outside in the winter in Canada shooting that long, 6 days a week, crew members and cast were getting sick constantly. So it's this constant rotation of crew members weren't able to be there because they were sick, and they'll come back and other people would get sick. And this is about getting the shots. So when they were actually shooting one scene over in the basement, and they had the girls covered in blood. It was just somebody's house. This wasn't a built set or anything like that. So whenever they had to switch out, like people coming in and out of the basement covered in blood, the homeowner had a 4-year-old child. So a crew member had to distract the child and lead the child away so cast members can come out from the basement covered in blood. Because that's because that's what you got to do so you don't scar a 4-year-old kid.
Seriously, dude, that would fuck somebody up so bad.
And there was some intense set design on that. Some of those sets, with in the opening montage, they're taking all the photos. I think that was the first thing they shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the first thing that they shot, and so going through extra effort to not upset the neighbors. They started getting to the point where they started running out of time. So scenes that took place during the day, they had to shoot at night. So they're rigging up basically like artificial suns and sunlight and stuff like that outside, which is very difficult to do to get stuff done. And when they actually started doing the transformations of it, it was a 7-hour makeup process for Isabel.
Fuck that. 7
hours to put on, 2 hours to take off.
And what, like an hour of filming?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it would be really, really tight.
So this was they got it done with any film you get in the can, but it was a very rough production.
And then they did it 2 more times.
And then 2 more times. Then they're like, let's do it again.
Well, by the time you get to say the sequel, you've got to. I remember the sequel. She didn't do a full transform until towards the end.
Yeah, it was towards the end.
But it was like brief and gradual. So that was a good way to get around it. It wasn't so extreme as in the first one, whereas they were able to do, okay, let's just do the ears. Let's just do some hair. Let's just do some of this. And just slowly but surely, gradually through the film, got to it to kind of lessen the damage done to your lead actress.
Stop beating her.
Because when you have a 9-hour day just in the makeup chair, like that's it, just makeup chair, 9 hours.
You're not even working yet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking crazy. So wild. But this is kind of where you get your start sometimes. You got to endure some crazy shit to tell a good story.
It was great.
It did. That's true. I mean, one thing about film sets, I love that quote: "The worst day on a film set is still better than the day in the office."
Fuck yes. Agreed.
Fuck yeah.
Agreed.
Definitely. Yeah, so like we were talking about though, there's 3 films in this. It's a trilogy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's only 3. Okay, good.
Two films and a prequel. A film, a sequel, and a prequel.
Yeah. Shit, I got them backwards then. I was thinking 3 was 2. I don't know. If you've seen them though, audience, we'd like to know what was your favorite entry in the franchise. I think the first one was probably my favorite out of all 3.
The first one was the best of the 3.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's just the original
2
idea,
is
just a cool
whatever. 3 was
transformation.
okay.
Very brutal.
It was.
Well, Catherine Isabelle is an amazing actress. I strongly recommend. Obviously, she's been in a ton of shit. I really liked her turn in the show Hannibal. She was really good in that.
That's another one I'm watching.
As Mason Berger's sister. If you haven't seen her in American Mary, she was bad. Fucking it's a horror slasher film directed by the Soska sisters. She was really fucking good in that.
Looking it up now.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal film, but she was amazing in that one.
For sure. Yeah, let us know. Which one did you like the best? First, second, before the first, third one? All right, J.O., what do you got for us next?
All right. So, we're going to come a little bit closer to home. May 12th, 2014. We're going to be talking about Extraterrestrial. So, this little horror film was directed by Colin Minihan, written by the Vicious Brothers. Colin Minihan is one half of the Vicious Brothers. They're composed of Colin Minihan and Stuart Ortiz. But they create under the Vicious Brothers name, and this cast included a very talented group of actors. Brittany Allen, Freddie Stroma, Melanie Papalia, Jesse Moss, Anya Savchik, and Gil Bellows, and Michael Ironside, the man, legendary Michael Ironside.
I love him.
And we just mentioned her in the previous one. Emily Perkins had a little bit role in this one as well. So it was nice to see her just pop up as a quick character, and I love it when she shows up. She always does such a good job. But this is a particular favorite of mine. Extraterrestrial follows a group of friends who go out to settle one of their estates. This one girl brings her friends out to help settle her family's cabin estate out, by the lake. And they decide to party and have fun. And then aliens show up and everything just goes to fucking shit. So this movie turns brutal really fucking fast.
They get stoned and aliens show up.
Yes, because I can't describe it any better than that, because the aliens do just show the fuck up. I got to give some hallmarks. Some hallmark moments are Emily Perkins' opening scene, because she has the intro, and she's really awesome in that. It was the intro that caught me, because I happened to come across this film, and I was like, oh, Extraterrestrial. Oh, it's the Vicious Brothers, same guys who did Grave Encounters. So I got to give this thing a look, and I opened it up, and so I was sitting there watching it. And it was the first 5 minutes caught me. It was the effects were very, very impressive, and I was just kind of like, and Emily Perkins, I love watching her. So I was like, okay, good. It was just saying, I see what's going on, and then boom, I was like, oh, I'm sold. I got to watch this shit. And this is the film that also introduced me to Brittany Allen. I think most people may have caught her recently. She was in The Boys as I think what's her name, Popclaw, A-Train's girlfriend in The Boys, but I think she had a horror film that came out, I think it was direct to Netflix, called What Keeps You Alive.
What?
Yeah, she played a girl who goes out to a cabin with her wife, and then her wife turns on her and tries to hunt her. And
so she's got a thing where she keeps going back to these cabins, man.
I know, right? But she's a damn talented fucking actress. She is really goddamn good. Also, to recommend, It Stains the Sand Red, which was another that was also Colin Minihan who directed that. I think the two of them are actually married now. But she played a girl who was being tracked by a lone zombie through the desert. She gets stranded in the desert during a zombie apocalypse, and there's this one zombie, and she's trying to escape this zombie through the desert. But the deeper she goes in the desert, the more risk she's going to die. But she can't face off with the zombie. So it was actually a pretty good, pretty tense little thriller. but damn, some seriously talented actors that went into this. Gotta tell you, because the film does pretty damn good with what it's got, despite the fact that it's pretty much effects driven.
It really is, which come usually with effects. When it comes to special effects, big studio films. That's the big thing. You think, Star Wars or Marvel, these huge ones that come out. It's really hard to do an alien abduction and alien special effects when you get to these smaller budget ones, just because special effects are expensive. And the better the effects are, the more expensive it is. I know, just gives people an idea, in the TV show Buffy, every time they dusted a vampire and they showed it was $5,000.
God damn.
Every single time. And that's just the overlay for one dusting. So when you're talking about a ship coming in with abductions and special effects and dealing with the aliens, it can get out of hand really, really fast. Now, one of the things is a lot of lower budget movies don't use special effects, or they don't use special effects kind of very often, just because of the whole price thing. But you'll have a couple of films that actually really rely on it, and they try to tell a story that's 100% pretty much through effects. And I know the director that comes to mind is always Ronald Emmerich, who did Independence Day and The Day After Tomorrow.
Roland.
Yeah, Roland. I'm sorry. Yeah, Roland Emmerich. Yeah. Roland Emmerich.
His name's Ronald now. Shut up.
At this point, it's become a running gag. I think we've accepted it.
I hope the audience accepted it too. But he's somebody who is very, very special effects driven. And the thing about Ronald's movies is they're always Roland. The thing about his movies, pronouns, his movie.
The thing about fucking Ronaldo.
The thing about ours movies, right, is they're always a spectacle to watch, but the stories can be hit or miss. A lot of times it can take away from characterization, because you're always caught up in the spectacle that has to be shiny, grab your attention, these special effects have to blow you away, which takes time away from character development. Some of that sometimes that really important dialogue. And it's really hard to balance the two. So the special effects aren't, your eyes are constantly pulled, so if you stop seeing special effects, you start getting bored. But at the same time, you've got to push up those characters.
It sounds like a balance issue.
It's a hard balancing issue.
That was the big thing. That was the really big thing about Extraterrestrial. I think only 2 characters out of the entire cast really got any serious, I would say exposition as far as development goes, and that would be Brittany Allen's character and her boyfriend. Kyle. So Freddie Stroma and Brittany Allen, pretty much, they had the most to work with. Everyone else pretty much was just there to help the story along and either add comic relief or add drama to whatever the scene was. Even Michael Ironside, I love it. God, Michael Ironside is a legend. There wasn't much done with him. The effects predominantly drove this. The alien showing up, the alien crash site, the UFO, and all of this was exceptionally well done.
It really was with the budget that they had.
And it was enough to keep me interested. It really was. But you go back, but is it worth a second viewing, a third viewing, a fourth viewing? Not so much. I would say occasionally go back. I've seen the movie probably since it came out, 2014. I've probably seen it 4 times. And wow. I'll occasionally go back and watch it just to see it, just because I really like Brittany Allen's work, and I think this is one of her earlier films, so I really enjoyed watching her progress as both an actress and see the work, the kind of the choices she makes in her character development. But I really like the Vicious Brothers. Grave Encounters just got me. Grave Encounters was way better than it had any right to be. And Grave Encounters 2 actually took the same kind of premise and made it even better, which was shocking.
And of course, you're talking about the Vicious Brothers found footage movie when they locked themselves in the hospital, right?
That was Grave Encounters, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was incredible.
Right?
And so, and then there was. Did you ever see the second one?
Yeah, Grave Encounters 2.
So they did two, and then the Vicious Brothers just premiered like a 15-part anime, and also announced Grave Encounters 3.
Oh, I saw.
No, that was back in 2015 when they announced that, and I haven't seen it yet because it hasn't come out. I'm kind of wondering where that's at.
Hopefully, it's not stuck in production hell.
Well, because they did. It stains the sands red, and then yeah, what keeps you alive was the thriller that they did last year.
Those were both directed by Minahan and written by both of them. So they've got what is that? They got five productions under their belt, and I really hope they go back and they revisit for Grave Encounters 3. I want that movie so fucking bad. Especially indie, fairly low budget films. You don't often get such a jump in improvement from Grave Encounters and Grave Encounters 2. Grave Encounters 2 not only upped the effects, it upped the character building. The throwback to the first one with the host still alive in the fucking in the hospital, and then continuing the story on. He also giving it the kitschy, it's a real place, and coordinates to the actual location.
Well, and then like on the second one too, they took, because the first one was very just horror driven, ghost movie, and then the second one was like it got more like psychological. It was definitely more of like it was more of a dive into like, I don't know. It was fantastic. That's a fantastic pair of films. They got a the third one is going to be the beginning, so it's going to be a prequel, which would be cool. You go either way with that one and be fine.
It's nice to see a sequel actually build on the original film instead of just trying to market off of it.
I mean, how many first-time writer-director combinations? Because they both co-directed Grave Encounters. And they edited the fucking movie.
They wrote, directed, and edited both of them.
Both of them. And how often do you see, with Grave Encounters being a freshman effort, and then Grave Encounters 2, 1 year later, their sophomore effort, and that level of improvement? And then I look at Extraterrestrial, I look at It Stains the Sands Red, and then I look at What Keeps You Alive. Because What Keeps You Alive was, the writing in that was fucking amazing. And that one shook me, because they really played on how they were able to play on the depths. They play on the depths of just the dark side of humanity. They play on that really well. The dark, of obsession, of ego, of self-aggrandizement, self-fulfillment, shit like that. Because What Keeps You Alive is very much, real true love meeting the horrors of humanity. Because this girl, for those who haven't seen it, the bad girl, we'll say the good girl and the bad girl. The bad girl in it has been in a relationship with this other girl for over a year, and they have gotten married. They are on their honeymoon. She takes her out. She takes her new wife out to her family's cabin in the middle of nowhere to hunt her, because this is what she does. And then after she does it, she changes her identity and moves on. That's
super fucking twisted and scares the shit out of me about trusting anybody in my life.
Because the whole ruse was for over a year. So this girl, the victim, she is desperately in love with this girl, and then come to find out that your wife, who you had trust, the whole thing was a ploy to bring you in and weaken you as her prey.
That's so fucked up.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucking twisted, dude. It is.
Yeah, I'm not checking. You said that one's on Netflix?
It is a vicious production.
Ooh. I see what you did there.
See what you did right there.
But these guys got a great future ahead of them, man. I can't
Seriously, and coming out of the gates like that, man, I'm so excited.
Coming out of the gates.
And now I gotta go watch this. It Stains the Sands Red and What Keeps You Alive.
Yeah, I think What Keeps You Alive is on Netflix currently. It Stains the Sand Red might be on Amazon Prime. I'm not 100% sure. I caught that one online. I bought it from somewhere, and I just don't know what streaming service it's on. But What Keeps You Alive is definitely on Netflix. Strongly recommend that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check them out. Definitely.
All right. Well, that kind of brings us to what the audience thinks. So we just listed off, everything the Vicious Brothers done. We've gone through their whole filmography. It's not that long, but we're very curious. What is the audience's favorite Vicious Brothers film? Did you prefer Grave Encounters or Grave Encounters 2? Extraterrestrial is It Stains the Sands Red, or What Keeps You Alive, or maybe you're waiting for Grave Encounters 3. We'd love to hear what you guys think. Let us know. You can always email us at weekinhorror@gmail.com. We'd love to get emails in because sometimes we read them and we check them out. So we.
What do you mean sometimes?
I didn't finish that. We'd love to be able to read them on the show.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions for us, we'd love to be able to hear what you have for us. Or maybe you want to call us out because we made a mistake, or we pronounced something the wrong way.
Yeah, JL. Yeah, when you pronounce stuff the wrong
knows?
way. Mm-hmm.
Who knows what you might be agged with, but we would love to hear from you. So definitely, always, let us know what your favorite movies are. We'd love to hear about it. What did you like of the Vicious Brothers? Or what are you looking forward to from them? Let us know. All right, Eugene, you had an exciting one this week.
This is one of my favorite movies, and I am sorry right off the bat for the pronunciation of names. I apologize. It is a Korean film, so I will do my best. I really will. But it is one of my favorite films, and it came out May 13th, 2016, and it is Train to Busan. And it was directed by Yeon Sang-ho, Jeon Yo, it's starring John Mo, Ma Dong-seok, Jeon Yo-mi, and Kim So-an. I hope I pronounced that right. I tried. I practiced that.
I think you got it. That was pretty fucking good.
How did you nail those? But you So today we found out Eugene is actually Korean.
So I'll get all the Korean names from now on.
Wait a minute. You got that correct, but Roland is a problem.
Ronald.
Ronald Emmert.
Ronald Emmerich.
No, that was well done. That was really well done. We were on the edge of our seats, waiting with bated breath, and you actually knocked that one out of the park. That was pretty
I
good.
practiced that. I did. I practiced it.
Very nice.
It's the only research he did for this podcast.
I've got to get these.
Standing in the mirror, pointing at himself. I'm not going to fuck this up.
For our Korean listeners, listen in anticipation.
Now they're going to email us.
I know. And so, Train to Busan, it's a fantastic zombie film, and it follows a fund manager and his daughter who basically board a train to go see his exchanged wife and the daughter's mother. And while they're on this train, the zombie apocalypse breaks out. And so they get little bits and pieces of information through a phone call, and then pull into a station, and you see people getting ripped apart and a massacre happening. And you try to keep the train going, and zombies get on the train, and the zombies are vicious in this movie.
Oh, they ain't your shambling, moaning zombies.
No, these.
No, these were, the thing about them was not only were they like aggressive and fast, because we saw that with like the Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder remake. This is like they bent in certain ways. Like when they turn, they bend in ways a human body is not supposed to bend.
It gets into that Eastern type movement horror on top of.
Oh, I get where you're going with the grunge and the ring.
Yeah, just that kind of Eastern. They use tricks of your brain, clicking stuff in the wrong direction.
Straight, fucks your crazy body articulation, shit like that. Yeah.
This is, this is a fantastic zombie film, and I'd actually seen another zombie film the same day that I watched this movie because I was on a zombie kick. But World War Z was another great zombie movie. I hate comparing these two, and it was something that we had discussed before the show. It's hard to put these two into the same, because you can watch Train to Busan, which when you watch it, you gotta watch it with subtitles on. It's in a different language. I mean, unless you speak Korean like Eugene apparently.
Oh yeah.
But you could strip all the dialogue away from this movie, and you could feel the entire. You would make up your own dialogue in your head. Like, you don't need it. You feel this whole movie from start to finish. At the very end of the movie, it's like, I remember like physically sighing out loud, like, as the credits started to roll, because I was like sitting on the edge of my seat with my breath held the whole time. And it's hard to compare that to World War Z, which was another, I thought, fucking excellent zombie movie.
To me, the difference has been with World War Z and Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is kind of a central figure involved with the infection, because he's a scientist and he's talks with the military and he gets all this like inside.
Because he just has all this fucking clearance.
Yeah, because he gets all the inside information and ends up in the right spot at the right time constantly in that movie. Whereas with Train to Busan, they just feel like people. Like, there's not, you got the guy who knows how to fight, but it's nothing like it just feels real when you watch.
It is very real. You're so vulnerable during the whole thing. You're crammed in the little car. You're not in this big outside world. You're crammed in this little train car, and there's choke points. And like the whole time, like, you're just sitting there like, oh, I can't. What do I do? Like, hiding behind the seat of an invisible train that you're on because you feel like you're there. Absolutely. You don't need the dialogue. I don't know.
You don't.
I kind of fanboy over this movie.
You're right. You don't need the dialogue. You don't.
I think I stopped watching the words about halfway through.
It had heart that World War Z just did. World War Z, by comparison, felt somewhat sterile.
It was just very action themed. It was just
that was just telling a. You felt there was a separation when you watch World War Z. You feel the kind of separation from when I'm watching a movie about zombies. Whereas Train to Busan gets you emotionally involved. There was a stronger emotional element to Train to Busan. There are individuals who can relate to the father trying to protect his daughter, especially the daughter he's pretty much estranged from. You have the passengers who are afraid and terrified. The guy that fucks over everyone, because there's always one that fucks over everybody.
Selfish piece of shit.
Selfish piece of shit. But
So
we
glad he got his own.
understand these things. These are the things that real people do in extraordinary situations. And even the dude who's just like, what? Fuck! I'm gonna punch zombies in the face. Fuck you, because I kind of related to him myself, just kind of like, oh shit, now I'm punching zombies in the face.
Well, like, what the fuck else are you gonna do? If you don't stop punching them, they're gonna eat you. So,
that dude just
dude, he punched so many zombies.
He really did.
Just compartmentalizing like a motherfucker. He's like, you know what? Now I got to punch zombies in the face. Hey man, what are you talking to my wife for? Get the fuck away! Oh shit, zombies. I love that guy. But yes, Eugene is right. We could relate to these characters. They felt more real because they were reflections of us. And
they had different types. If no matter what kind of person you are, that kind of person was in this movie.
Yes. Exactly. Because even with the guy who punched zombies, they could have made him the super martial artist, badass, and kung fu master, and all this other kind of stuff. But
why? Because it's Korean?
I'm saying
no. Well, they could. No,
they could tell. But the thing,
that guy was none of that. That guy worked on fucking cars.
Yeah,
that was pretty much.
he came across as he's just a tough guy who just kind of knows how to handle himself. He's probably been in some fights and stuff like that growing up. That's how he's not afraid to punch people. But he just came across a guy who just knows how to handle himself, and that's what makes him relatable.
That's such a good movie.
It was extremely, extremely well done. And I actually think it being in Korean lends itself a little bit better to American audiences, which is why it resonated so well, because obviously you can follow along with the subtitles, but even if you don't, like you said, you really don't need to. The action itself is so well represented, and everything on the screen is so well represented, and you don't get lost in any customs or or cultural storytelling, because they don't rely heavily on that. The story can be understood across all spectrums, across all cultures, which I think was a brilliance of the director, and being able to say, let's make one that doesn't just, let's make a zombie movie that's really good, but doesn't just cater to Korean audiences, okay, but caters to any audience. if this were to
just
take place
caters to the human.
Right. If this were to take place on any train, anywhere, this is what it could be like. And plus, I mean, the storyline of the guy with his daughter and him doing everything he could, but the fact that that's all his daughter will really remember of him was him on that train protecting her.
Yeah, because the ending of that movie was like hard not to just like break down mentally.
And even when you start seeing his character shift, where in the beginning it's it's all about yourself. Screw everybody else. It's yourself. Then you start seeing him going back and helping people when he realizes that his daughter pays attention to how he's acting. It's not just surviving, but it's how he's acting. So in that action, the action that's going on, you see characters develop because of it.
Yep. Such a well-done film. I would actually argue, and I think I have, and Edgar Wright tweeted out, and I think he agrees with me, that this is most likely the best zombie film ever made. Just from the evolution of the subgenre of zombie horror. This stood upon the shoulders of the giants before it, but it made the genre its own. It took what worked and ran with it, which in film we're good. We're good with. As long as what you're going to do, you pay homage to it and you either make it your own and do it better. Okay? Always be improving. And it did that. It improved everything on all fronts. It improved the zombies. It improved the drama. It improved the characterizations. The effects, the location, everything. And made it ubiquitous. Anybody in the world can watch this and get it and understand it and be enthralled by it. And when Edgar Wright, the director of Shaun of the Dead, tweets out that this is the best zombie film he's ever seen.
You know he's on to something.
That's a tall order.
Okay? That is a tall order from the guy who made Shaun of the Dead, which I think before Train to Busan, Shaun of the Dead was considered probably the best zombie film ever made. Because it took it in a new direction, it paid homage to the greats before it, but Edgar Wright made it his own and was, funny as absolute fuck. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. So I think I honestly do. Unless they do something amazing with World War Z 2, I think, Train to Busan, arguably the best zombie film ever made, with a very close second, the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, if there was any film in competition, then it would be the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead.
Yes, a very close second. Because that had moments that were just just impressive. That, I think, heralded the genius of Zack Snyder before he got involved with DC and they fucking ruined him. I gotta get my DC dig in there.
God damn, we're pitching a lot of stuff today.
But, well, at least, what are we going to see with Peninsula, right?
Yeah, so they recently just released a trailer for Peninsula.
Dude, it was so fucking amazing.
It was.
It was so awesome.
It was. And, I said it. I know, I said it. I said it. I caught myself on that one. But when we talked about the sequel to Grave Encounters, are we going to get a sequel that's going to build on Train to Busan? That's a hard movie to top, or even just hit that same level. I think they can do it, but that's a tall order.
I think that's the big thing is that, and I think what's going to go for them on this is that it's not a direct sequel to Train to Busan. Just like Grave Encounters 2, it's a direct sequel. It takes place in the same location. It's a new cast, but they're encountering the same shit. In Train to Busan, Peninsula takes place in the Train to Busan universe, but 4 years later. And it doesn't have anything to do with the original story. It's just in the same universe, so it's more shit. That's why there was more. I think there was more military action in that trailer. So it'll be another aspect of the ongoing zombie apocalypse. So, because I think it was Train to Busan presents Peninsula, which more likely they're referring to the Korean peninsula being in South Korea being completely overwhelmed by the zombie apocalypse. So
fucked.
Yeah, I don't know how big they're going to go with it. Obviously, they could go, all of South Korea, just like 28 Days Later did all of the UK. Will they go further than that? Who knows? But judging what I saw in that trailer, it's going to be fucking amazing.
I can't wait to see it. I can't.
I love just the idea of being in the dark because the power grid is out. There are zombies everywhere, and you can only see them when you're firing your gun. that fucking got me. Like the muzzle flash is what's lighting up the zombies. I was like, that's fucked up.
I'm still scared.
And so actually, I like to ask the audience, what do you think about the new Peninsula coming up? Peninsula, Train to Busan presents Peninsula.
Yeah.
What, as the audience, what do you think? Do you think it's going to hold up to Train to Busan? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? What do you think about the trailer that's coming out? Let us know in the comments or shoot us an email.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, I can't wait.
I'm excited about it. I'm super excited
about it. So excited about it.
I want to watch the trailer again.
I'm probably going to watch the trailer later tonight, I'll be honest. And so, Alex, what's the last movie we got tonight?
Last movie? Gotta end it on me, huh?
Last one of the week.
Well, there's a little bit of foreshadowing.
Yes,
we're gonna be talking. I know. I like super ironically too. It just ended up being right here. But we're talking about. We've got the movie The Car came out May 13th, 1977. What a good year!
That was a good year. Yeah,
it was a good year.
Directed by Elliot Silverstein, written by Dennis. I'm gonna fuck this one up too. Chirac.
Really struggling on names.
hey, you proved yourself. No, I got nothing to say about that. Starring James Brolin, Kathleen Lloyd, John Marley, R.G. Armstrong, all sorts of super old people. Fucking 77, man. We're getting old,
dude. You gotta give homage, man. The ever present bad guy, Ronnie Cox, was in this.
Ronnie Cox.
Now I have a friend who listens to the show regularly, and if I don't give a shout out to Ronnie Cox, because Ronnie Cox is my friend's favorite bad guy. He was the head of OCP in fucking RoboCop.
Yeah, I was gonna say RoboCop.
He often plays evil CEOs. Is typically what he plays. He was in Total Recall. Ronnie Cox is in fucking everything. So, and he's often just a straight up bad, like he's like a bad CEO. He's the evil CEO. That's what he fucking is. And he was in this. He was in The Car. So I got to give a shout out to Ronnie Cox.
How do you come across the talent? Like, this is my niche. Like, I'm just an evil CEO.
I'm an evil CEO.
That sounds like either father problems or I don't know.
Somebody has to play them.
But yeah, so The Car follows a car, a very murderous car that literally comes out of nowhere and just starts killing children. Black sedan rolls up behind a couple of kids, fucks with them for a second, slams the girl against the concrete barrier and knocks a boy off a bridge, and then runs down a hitchhiker, and then the town starts to... They think that there's like a murderer, but then it turns out that there might be more supernatural forces at play. Which is fantastic.
I really enjoy
this. Lincoln just comes out of fucking nowhere and starts killing everybody.
I enjoy this movie not only because it has James Brolin in it.
James Brolin makes this movie.
Father of Josh Brolin. Father of Thanos. Father of Cable. But
yeah, when do we get that movie?
What do you mean? Do what?
Deadpool 3?
No, James Brolin is Josh Brolin's dad.
Yeah.
You said Father of Cable.
Yeah.
Yes, he played Cable in Deadpool 2.
Yeah, Josh Brolin
but only at the end.
Josh Brolin played Cable in Deadpool
Why do
2.
I always get him mixed up with fucking... Never mind.
So Josh Brolin was Cable. Josh Brolin was Thanos.
Yes.
Which is why Ryan Reynolds said, "Zip it, Thanos," when they were in their fight.
I almost said not Ron Swanson, not Ron Perlman. Oh my god!
Wait, you confused Ron Perlman with
Ron
Josh
Perlman
Brolin?
with Josh Brolin.
Okay, so all right, so yes, it has James. I'm gonna go back to my thought.
Anyways, fuck me, right?
The movie has James Brolin, father of Thanos, father of Cable, and it has. I think it's an example of how to make a perfect monster, just a great monster in film, because the car shows up. See, unlike other bad guys, what was it in Scream? They talked about it being the best. You know, the bad guys that have no motives, they have no reasons, or explainable reasons as to why they do these things. They simply are what they are. They're forces of nature. And I think a great monster takes on those attributes. We don't know, obviously, what drives the car. I think that was the fucking poster. But I think that was like one of the taglines. What drives the car? But we don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to what it does. It targets people, but doesn't target every single person. It seems to be singling people out. Or people that piss it off. There was no motive. There was no rhyme nor reason to it. It literally showed the fuck up. I think the opening was it drove out of the darkness of a tunnel. Which is pretty amazing.
It literally just came out of nowhere.
Just came out of the darkness of a tunnel.
Oh fuck, that's kind of a cool car. Looks like a custom chopped Lincoln.
Dude, that Lincoln.
And then it starts fucking killing children.
But yeah, I mean, it's a simple deal. The car shows up, starts killing people. Everybody tries to unite to try and stop the fucking thing. And the fact that it toys with people, it plays with them. The whole standoff scene. The car is right there in front of Brolin's character. He was Deputy Wade. They're having the standoff in the fucking road. He's firing at the goddamn car and no damage is done.
Nope.
But it lets him get close. It kind of pops the door a little bit so he can look and say, "This is what you're dealing with, motherfucker."
You want to look in here? You want to take a look inside? There's nothing in here.
See what's up? There's nothing in here, motherfucker. And a friend of mine used to call the car the Devil's Sunday Ride, and I fucking love it because this is how you make a great monster movie. You get to leave so much to the imagination. People fill in the blanks themselves. An excellent, I think, a tried and true trope of storytelling, especially horror storytelling, that doesn't get used as much today. I think a lot of people consider it old-fashioned, which is a shame.
Mm-hmm. It is because it comes out of nowhere. There's that no explanation, and I love, you're right, how it teases, because the car pulls up behind him, behind James Brolin when he's on the motorcycle. It's like the car could just run him over.
Exactly. Yeah, it could have fucking killed him. Yes,
but it stops.
But he likes to play.
And the features that's always stood out to me was the headlights, because the headlights they look evil, just straight up evil. It's like it's glaring at whoever it's running down. And so when they're actually putting the car together, they actually used, it was a highly customized 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III.
The Mark III.
Yeah, the Mark
right.
III.
Yeah.
And they got 4 for the production. So 3 stunt cars and then 1 for the close-up. So 3 cars were destroyed during production, and then the 1 is in a private collection right now. But the car was designed by legendary car designer George Barris, who has worked on actually quite a few films of just car design. He actually designed the original Batmobile for the 1966 series.
No shit, I missed that. Oh, fucking A.
Yeah, I mean, he worked on
the black and
fucking A.
I love that car. The black and red trim.
Yeah, the black and red. Yeah, the black and red trim. He was the one that actually designed that. He designed the cars for Jurassic Park in the first movie. So I mean, they knew exactly who they were talking with. He designed the Dukes of Hazzard cars. He designed Knight Rider. I mean, this is just what this guy did, was design cars for movies, and it clearly works, because that car is creepy. I don't even think it has handles on the side of the door, because I'm just like looking at it. I don't even think there's any kind of handle to pop it open or anyway.
It'd be nice to know where it came from.
But yeah, I mean, they got George, got him on production. He was the one that customized it and put it together, and it worked.
I love the design of it. It was, obviously, it's a very powerful car. but it wasn't of the classic design of like muscle cars of the time of the late 70s. But he bulked it up. It was so bulky and looked like the car physically looked like it shouldn't be able to do what it was doing. That giant fucking grill on the front, those big, the big inflated pipes, the piping that was on the sides. That car should not have been able to do the things that it did. But that's, I mean, obviously the fun you can have when customizing vehicles, for film and doing fun, shit like the fucking Wraith, and which I think. I don't know what
you went there.
I don't know what the fuck they did with that fucking car. that shit was fun. I actually think that was a prototype that they then modified after its prototype design. But then what was it? There was another one I can't remember. In the vein of shit. Anyway, I
Killing in the Name of.
Say it again. Killing
in the Name of. No, that's Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex has done smoked himself.
Alex has been stuck in a house alone for way too long.
Way too long.
So, but you get to do fun things like that and portray that, because I guarantee you, I know cars fairly well. I'm not as good as my dad was or my brother is, but obviously it lent itself to that supernatural feel that this vehicle should not be able to do the things that it does. And you can create otherworldly concepts that don't, obviously it's like, that thing doesn't fucking belong. Like, that's fucking crazy. And I love that it lent itself, like you said, the headlights. The customized headlights to give it the look like it was staring you down. Without being overtly like, oh, we've narrowed the beams to make it look like it's like, oh, it's angry with you. Just the way they laid everything out. Barris was a genius when it came to making things stand out and still be functional.
God, they made 4 of them. You know, when they did one of the scenes, they got to like blow a stick of dynamite up underneath one of the cars to flip it. You know how fucking cool it'd be to be on a fucking movie scene and they're like, hey, grab the TNT.
We're gonna blow up the car.
We're gonna blow up this one. What? Really?
That's like in Supernatural. How many Impalas do they have on that show?
I don't know.
I think I read somewhere they got like 15, 16 Impalas.
I know. I read at one point they had 7 on one set because they kept wrecking them or something like that.
Yeah, well, they have them for various stages of damage. So, like, the pristine Impala will show up, at the very end of the show or at the very beginning of the show. Then the Impala with the front end damage, the Impala with the rear end damage, the Impala with the side damage, the Impala that when you try to start it, it's specifically set up so that when you turn the key, it just buzzes, okay? Or the completely dead Impala that does nothing. So these are all different cars that they bring onto this set that they can jump in and do this shit. I fucking love that.
Speaking of Supernatural, they covered. Did you remember the do you remember the episode where the Impala was alive?
Yes, I do.
Gave tribute to another paranormal car movie.
Yes, it is.
We're like trying to slowly lead into something here.
We made the announcement, so
I know. It was so cool that this worked out to be on this day at this time at the end of this specific episode. But I'm talking about Christine because that Plymouth Fury was fucking cool.
Oh, she was. So sweet.
Man, it's such a
cool dude. I love that. And you kept saying you're like the Wraith and all this. I'm like, he's not even gonna fucking say Christine, is he?
Well, I was talking about cars that have extremely unique design. Christine was a cherry.
Just beautiful.
50, was it? She's 57 or 58?
57, I believe.
57 Plymouth Fury.
Yeah.
It was, okay, but it
was a 58.
58, yeah, 58 Plymouth Fury, and just straight up the line, stock the way she was. That was that car stock. Whereas vehicles like the car or the Wraith or with crazy motorcycles like this. This is uniquely done stuff that obviously is not roadworthy. This should not be fucking out there. This obviously supernatural of some nature. But Christine, she was just gorgeous in her own right.
Gotta love that Fury.
Oh yeah.
And I can't wait to hear you guys battle it out on our bloodbath coming to you next week to our Patreon subscribers.
It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be so fucking sick.
Christine versus the car.
Fingers crossed for me. Fingers crossed for me. I'm going to put up a hell of a fight.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be.
Are we using
fight.
are airbags going to be a factor in this one?
No, because neither vehicle has fucking airbags.
I don't even think you legally had to have airbags or seatbelts.
They don't have airbags in hell. Where these cars come from?
I think in those cars,
It's going to be the fucking tagline on our poster for our bloodbath.
That's the thing.
They don't have airbags in hell.
I think in Christine, I think they only had lap belts. Oh no, did they in 1958? There may have been no belts in that fucking thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
There might have been. I could have sworn there might have been lap belts, but not safety straps. Maybe I'm wrong. That maybe that car had no fucking belts at all in it.
Remember when station wagons had backward seats?
I don't think they did. I don't know. I'm pretty sure some car expert out there will let us know.
Yeah, hit us up. Some seatbelt history buffs.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting. Very cool. But yes, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, well, since we've got a week beforehand, audience, let us know. Who do you think is going to win this bloodbath battle, Christine or the car? Drop us a line. Get involved. We'll, shall I be so bold to say, send us an email with your guess, and then we'll shout you out on the bloodbath.
The car. Cough, cough. Yeah. Yeah. Continue on. Go ahead.
It's fucked up.
What people don't know is Eugene is actually fighting with Christine.
Yeah, me versus Christine.
Well, I think I'm going to put up the best argument that I can. So,
dude, it's going to be awesome. I'm super excited to hear because I love JL when you have to dig deep and come up with these scenarios. I love hearing about him because he just goes so deep into it. I'm like, fuck yeah, he's got a point. And Eugene, you come swinging every time. So I'm like, this is going to be fun.
ugh. All right.
I guess we got a couple of birthdays this week.
We do.
A couple
we
of
do.
pretty high-profile birthdays.
Oh,
yeah. Definitely a couple of legends. First birthday we have up this week. She was born May 10th, 1948. The legendary, gorgeous actress Meg Foster.
Oh, she's been around a long time.
Long time.
That's so rude.
almost a 50 years career. 5 decades.
Still killing it.
She is putting boot to ass. Many people might, if you those listening who don't recognize her name, I know many of you will, but those who don't recognize her name would recognize her trademark. I would say glacier blue eyes. So just she was a stunning looker, and she still is. But that was pretty much her hallmark. Was she had these almost pale blue, almost whitish eyes.
They're so piercing, though.
That were so piercing, and that was kind of her hallmark. But man, she started her career in 1970 and is still going strong. With her latest one, Investigation 13, that she did in 2019. And I'm looking forward to see. Obviously, the COVID-19 thing has got everybody pretty much locked down, and Meg's getting up there. She thinks she's 71 right now. She's about to turn 72, so obviously she's got to stay safe. We want her to. But we hope we get something out of her. September of this year marks 50 years in the fucking business. Kicking ass in everything. Whether it's horror or drama or even comedy. She was in fucking Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
She was fucking Evil Lynn, man. Evil Lynn next to Frank Langella's Skeletor. That's fucking amazing. I could not think of a better actress to play Evil Lynn.
She was in what was the long-running TV show she was in?
Oh, dang. She was on
She was on Quantum Leap.
I would say she was on a couple of TV shows.
Oh, she did. She did a shit ton. She did everything from The Twilight Zone to Cagney and Lacey.
She was all over TV.
$6 Million Man. She was on Hawaii Five-0, the original Hawaii Five-0.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. But she was on Bonanza.
Back in the day.
Xena Warrior Princess.
she was on Mod Squad.
She was apparently on Pretty Little Liars for a few episodes, and then Twin Peaks for one. That was like recently.
Yeah, she was also in Overlord and Jeepers Creepers 3.
She was one of the better parts of Jeepers Creepers 3. that movie, what it lacked in effects, because unfortunately the budget on that one got slashed quite a bit before and so they pretty much came out of the effects. That was so unfortunate because 1 and 2 were so good, but she was one of the better parts of that. I mean, she's hasn't lost her step at all, and so her bringing her nuanced characterization she brings to everything that she does was so welcome to see that, and I love that she still does it because she fucking loves to do it. You can tell she just loves to fucking make movies. So really love seeing that she's still going strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So very cool, very cool. So a happy birthday to the legendary Meg Foster. We love you.
Happy birthday, Meg.
Happy birthday.
And
Eugene, you've got our next one, right?
Oh yes, the man, the myth, the legend. Machete himself. May 16th, 1944, Danny Trejo.
Jesus, that was the year World War II ended.
It was close to it. Hey, his career has just spanned it across so many movies, so many fun characters, and I like how people kind of initially started casting him as like a bad guy who would think of movies like, say, like Con Air, and then he can turn around and start being the fun good guy, like with Machete. Like people start rooting for him, and he's become this favorite among fans, and he does huge big movies like Heat, all the way to little
fantastic films like Spy Kids.
Exactly.
I think it was he'd been working for a long time, and it seemed he played a lot of convicts, a lot of people behind jail. He himself, we don't want to speak ill of his past, but obviously a lot of people know that he was a convicted criminal. He did his time behind bars, and now he's an incredible actor. He's an awesome character actor, and I think it was Robert Rodriguez who really blew him up and gave him the opportunity to be the badass that he is, instead of just, pigeonholing him into these, the guy behind the bars, or the guy who's in a cell, or the guy who's being arrested, or, whatever like this. He could have been stuck in those roles, just given his look, given his natural look, all of his tattoos, his history. He could have been stuck in that, but he went the Charles S. Dutton route, because Charles S. Dutton was the same way. Dutton was a hardhead. He did time. He had a rough upbringing, but he turned it into something amazing, which is the legendary career that Charles Dutton has had. Danny did the same thing, and I think we got to thank Robert Rodriguez for giving him that shot. I think it was in El Mariachi.
Yeah, Rodriguez's first movie, right?
Because I think he gave Trejo a shot in that, and then that turned into
That turned to like Dust Till Dawn.
Desperado.
Yeah. Desperado.
Because he was the knife throwing motherfucker.
All those knives.
All the knives in his fucking jacket. But I gotta give him some props, because as of recent, because we can talk about all his past stuff all the time, and he's got some great moments. There was this one movie he did with Kyle MacLachlan. I cannot remember the name. It was a sci-fi movie. But it was a little spot that he had in it. Kyle MacLachlan was an alien, was playing an alien who was partnered with a cop. And there's a scene, and the alien's in town trying to track down another bad alien that's escaped and is on planet Earth. So this alien cop is teamed up with a human cop. They're trying to find this alien bad guy, and the alien bad guy assaults the police station. And there's this one quick shot of a bunch of prisoners in a cell, and the only one who you can make out, though, who's standing up with his hands on the bars, is Danny Trejo. And he has one line, and it's like, "Hey, what the fuck about us?" And then boom, they all get shot and they die. This shit is fucking ridiculous. But look at his recent stuff. I mean, and I don't know if you guys have caught his turn on The Flash.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
He was really good in that. I don't want to spoil that. Obviously, his turn on Sons of Anarchy was fantastic. X-Files, when he was on, I don't know if you caught his X-Files episode.
I do believe I've seen that one.
No, excellent stuff. I love the fact that he's been able to go from the kind of gang-banging cholo to one of I think one of the most respected character actors in Hollywood today. That he really made use of his opportunities, and a lot of people, had a lot of put their faith into him, and thanks Robert Rodriguez, and of course, he holds a very, very awesome record in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, he does too.
Go on.
I believe it's the most on-screen deaths.
Yes.
Most on-screen deaths, so he's died the most on-screen?
Yes. Danny Trejo holds the record for the most on-screen deaths in Hollywood.
So he gets fucking killed a lot.
A lot.
Even more than Sean Bean. By like a large margin.
So, what was it? It was Buzz Bingo with the help of IMDb and Cinemorgue. They did a big tally of the on-screen mortality rate of the world's top actors. And actor, Danny Trejo has the most on-screen deaths of anyone in Hollywood history.
That's insane.
That's an awesome record.
Yes, 65 on-screen deaths.
65.
So he gets killed in all of his movies.
And guess who he beat by 5 deaths?
Who?
Christopher Lee.
Oh!
Christopher Lee, and when he passed away, but Christopher Lee had 60 on-screen deaths, and I think beyond that, it's like Lance Henriksen has 51, Vincent Price has 41, tied with Dennis Hopper, also 41. Boris Karloff also has 41. John Hurt has 39. Bela Lugosi has 36. And then Tom Sizemore, 36, and Eric Roberts, 35. So
Tom Sizemore does get killed.
He really
Tom
does.
Sizemore gets killed a lot. You know who shocks me is not on there? Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Huh.
Why is Sean Bean not on the most deaths? Not in the top of the most deaths, but I don't know why. But Danny Trejo, the star of Machete, the Mexican himself, leads Hollywood with 65 on-screen deaths, and he is still not done. That fucker, he has still got shit coming out.
He's going to be really good at it when he gets to that point, though, because he's done it so many times already.
Angela met him.
Well, really?
Yeah, Angela was doing work several years ago. Angela was working for Eddie V's here in Uptown, and Eddie V's was an upscale seafood restaurant, and they hosted celebrities all the time.
Fancy.
Fucking Tony Romo's been in there, Ralph Lauren's been in there, Ed Tuttle Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, Mavericks, all these cats show up all the time. But there was one day when this dude comes in, 5'6", kind of just rough looking Hispanic guy, and Angela was the closest to him. Just like, holy shit, that's Danny fucking Trejo. And so Danny walks in. He's wearing fucking jorts and a wife beater, and it has his hair pulled back. And I think she said he had a hat on. But anyway, he comes in. He's like, "Hey, I'm wanting to get a table." And of course, Eddie V's like, "Fuck yeah, absolutely." Yeah, they didn't say that, but they're like, "Yes, come on in." They set him up. He's like, "Okay, fantastic. Set up the table. I have some more people coming. While you're setting it up, I'm going to go across the street and check out the gym." So he left. The reason he came to Eddie V's that night and my wife got to meet him was because another local joint, Nick and Sam's, would not serve him because of his dress.
Oh.
Because he didn't meet dress code.
That's sucker for you.
Wow.
Which I think is bullshit. Yeah. But nonetheless, she got to meet him. Their loss was her gain, and she said he is just absolutely the coolest dude you could possibly meet.
That's like all the stories I've heard, because he does so many cameos and so many actors talk about him, that he's one of the nicest guys to work with, and he's just downright cool to hang out with.
Yeah, and if you're listening, Danny, thanks for going out there and serving the meals to the healthcare workers. That was really super cool.
That's awesome, wasn't it?
That was super cool.
That's super awesome.
Man, this
Yeah,
guy,
just out there
he's so
slinging
fucking next level.
tacos.
He's fucking next level, man. Everyone should, it's just striving. The example he sets, the work he does. He has a cameo in Jason Mewes' first directorial debut. I think it's Madness in the Method.
Sure.
Everyone knew Jason Mewes, who was Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He recently directed his first movie. He directed and starred in his first movie. So
cool.
Jason Mewes is really trying to step it up and really forge his own career. and he recently did his directorial debut. It actually was a pretty decent movie. It's a, it's
it wasn't
meta.
Zack and Miri make a porno.
Yeah, right. It's basically it tells the story. It's the fictionalized version of Jason Mewes, pretty much being shut down in Hollywood because of his character Jay.
Right.
And so that's what he's dealing with. And it's kind of like the trials and tribulations of Jason Mewes, because he spent so many years solidifying Jay that now he can't be anything but Jay. And he's trying to branch out and take on more serious roles. Nobody takes him seriously. Down deep, he blames Kevin for that, but he doesn't really ever voice it because Kevin's the mouth. Kevin's the guy who always talks. And, it was a really decent look at his life. Well, Danny Trejo had this cameo in it, and he's fucking amazing. Because when we see him, he is walking around in character with this feather boa on and dressed like a very flamboyant gay man, because he is method acting for a gay character he's going to be playing in a movie. So everything he's saying is like just Tu Wong Fu gay. Is like just giving sage advice to Jason Mewes, and then when everybody walks away, no one's around, then he pulls Jay in, and then there's classic Danny Trejo, like you flip a switch and you tell me anybody fucks with you, I'm gonna cut their motherfucking hearts out. I was like, yes,
that's awesome.
So just little bits like that, he jumps in, and I've heard story after story of how supportive he is of all other actors and talent in the business. I would hope to work with him one day. That would be fun.
I would love to work with him. Love to. And so definitely, once again, happy birthday, Danny.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Mr. Trejo.
Machete.
Machete.
They're doing another one, Machete Kills in Space.
Yes. Dude, did you see him in Badass? Because he was in the Badass trilogy. It was based off of the epic Beard Man.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, okay. So Alex, are you familiar with Epic Beard Man?
No.
Okay, Epic Beard Man was this video. You can look it up. It was a viral video about this old white guy with this big white beard who was on a bus. And he gets into a fight with this young black dude who they got into a verbal argument. The young black dude, got pretty heated, and then he stepped to the old white guy. And the old white guy looks like a fucking brick shithouse.
Gran Torino.
And then the old white guy jumps up and just beats the living shit out of the young black dude. And so that became known as Epic Beard Man. Because he was epic. He had an epic beard. He really is this epic white beard. Anyway, years later, that went viral. Years later, Danny Trejo made a movie called Badass, which is basically he was Epic Beard Man and he's beating the fuck out of just assholes all over his neighborhood. Then they made a sequel. Then they made a sequel with Danny Glover. So it was Danny Trejo and Danny Glover called Badasses 2. Or no, it was Badass 2, Badasses. And then they did a third one, which was Badass 3, Badasses on the Bayou. Strongly recommended. Great fucking shit. It really is. I shit you not. It's really entertaining.
I'm definitely going to watch that tomorrow.
Yes. Oh, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Danny Trejo, the man, the myth, the legend. Just I don't have words. He's awesome. All right, well, that wraps up another episode of Week in Horror. And always, thank you so much for listening. We wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for listeners like you. We greatly appreciate it. If you'd like some more info, check out our website, weekinhorror.net. You get past episodes there. We have some bios and all this other kind of stuff, so that way you can check it out. We're always looking for feedback, comments, questions. If you're just like, hey, I got nothing else better to do, then definitely shoot us an email, weekinhorror@gmail.com. That way we can talk with you, and on emails we like, maybe we might read them on the show. Maybe, talk about that a little bit. As always, you can listen to us in anywhere you can listen to podcasts at Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google Podcasts. And then definitely, if you like what you hear, check us out on Patreon on /Weekend Horror. Right, we added a new $1 tier a couple weeks ago where you can get a shout out. But we also have a couple other tiers, and if you subscribe to our Patreon, you get our Bloodbath, which we talked a little bit about earlier in the episode, where we use our horror expertise and we battle out 2 horror icons to see who would win in a fight to the death. And then also we do our After Dark, where we have our celebrity guests come on and we just chat with them. Chat about horror films and stuff that they've worked on and just get to know them better. So all Patreon subscribers will get those 1 month early. So definitely check that out. And then also check us out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Weekend Horror for our daily splatter. So you get a daily dose of a little bit of horror knowledge. And we also do the same thing on Twitter at Weekend Horror on Twitter.
I'm Alex.
I'm JL.
And I'm Eugene. And we'll see you next week. And as always, stay scared.